Hello, welcome to another ramble. I wanted to make a recording on, I guess, some things I've gone through, some things I've recognized within myself, and maybe it will help you. Um, First off, let's start off with it's so important to know what you want, what you don't want. And I think a lot of people spend a lot of their time focusing on things they want. Like I want a car, I want a house, I want a particular career, a particular relationship, I want to travel, I want to experience these things. That's great. It's great to know what you want. So you have like a reference point to strive towards. But it's also important to know what you don't want so that you don't waste your time on such things. And what do I mean by that? For instance, if you are in a situation or a relationship or dealing with something, it's important to know what you don't want so that you can easily cut your losses, walk away, save your time, exercise your right to say no. No? Like if somebody is mistreating you, um, they're like doing things that go against your integrity or your standards or your morals. It's good to know that you don't want that. If you wake up every day and you dread going to a particular job, it's good to know that you don't like wasting your time doing such things. That way you can make like decisions to cut your losses and move along. It's so important. Because I think we waste a lot of time like tolerating behavior or things or situations that really don't sit well with our soul, you know? Um, Moving into this video, I've struggled for most of my life with people pleasing, with having very poor boundaries. And I think the poor boundaries has to do with not knowing what you don't want. Because if you knew what you didn't want, I feel like you would have pretty like healthy boundaries. So if somebody came to you or a situation arise that you knew wasn't good for you, you'd be able to easily say no and walk away, implement a boundary, and just kind of draw that line. People pleasing, I think it has to do with, to some degree, wanting to be accepted and absolutely horrified of being rejected. And it probably stems from childhood experiences or traumas, because you're probably put in a situation that was very traumatic and you had to grow up like faster than you really needed to just to survive. And then you carry that behavior or that mindset into adulthood, so it's just like, well, I need to appease everyone so that they will like me, so that I won't feel a sense of abandonment. But ultimately, if you think about it, these are outdated systems that no longer are applicable. And also, by putting people's needs in front of your own, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's just like you're putting everyone's needs ahead of your own because you're afraid of being abandoned, but you're abandoning yourself. And that's why you have poor boundaries. You just let people do whatever they want to you, and you have this high pain threshold and you have this high tolerance threshold for unexcusable behavior just because you're afraid of being abandoned, when in actuality you're abandoning yourself. And then you encounter a reoccurrence of different characters doing the same things to you, which is like using you, abusing you. It's because you're allowing them to. It's time to like really like sit with these things and take accountability and responsibility for your part in it. A lot of times these people are just showing you parts of yourself that you still need to accept, and parts of yourself that you've been running away from, and parts of yourself that you've been externalizing. I came across like really interesting information as well, like because I've recently had to revisit um, relationships with narcissistic people with narcissistic tendencies, and they're saying that the black sheep or the scapegoat is usually, the highly sensitive person or the empathic person. It's because we, to some degree, because we are, pretty curious, inquisitive, and skeptical people, can see through the BS, right? That the narcissistic person tries to, I don't know, like narcissists wear a mask and they try to manipulate and convince people to do things for them because they're self-serving people, because they don't know how to generate things on their own. And I'm not trying to like put anyone down here. I'm just literally trying to grasp a higher level of understanding so that we can break these cycles and patterns and move into a better space. But that's what narcissists are. They don't know how to generate things on their own, so they're highly skilled at the art of manipulation in order to get people to become supplies of anything for them, right? Because they can't generate it on their own. We can see past the facade. And so, because we are a threat, we become the scapegoat or the black sheep in the family. So that explains why, even though it seemed like we lived a very hard, traumatic, and at times put up with a lot of abuse, this is why. So it's almost like if the narcissist is on one end of the spectrum, we are on the opposing end of the spectrum. And in order to preserve their identity, they would project a lot of their abuse and blame on us, But we know what's up. We know what's up. We know what's up. I mean, in the beginning, we don't know what's going on, so it's a little confusing and disheartening, and but I don't know. I think I've like hit some gold here, gold nuggets of understanding. So, yeah, just know what you want, what you don't want, and know that a lot of things that people do to you is not personal. It's actually a projection of their own insecurities. And it's really easy to project upon somebody who seems weak, like a scapegoat. But in actuality, just know that you're strong. That's why you're able to put up with a lot of these things that the normal person wouldn't be able to. And I'm not saying that, like we deserve to be put through these trials, but at the same time, I look at like hard things in life as initiations. It's like you need to pass through the fire in order to come out, be reborn, be like reincarnate into like a purer version of yourself. It's like kind of like burning off things that the what is that called? Burning off impurities in order to get to a place of remembrance, because a lot of times we're clouded, or we are like covered in cloaks and I say, in like layers and layers and layers of illusory things. And in order to get to the core of who you really are, you need to pass through different fires in order to burn off the impurities. Does that make sense? And then we associate that with pain. And yes, it is painful. Yes, it is difficult, but you are strong and resilient enough to pass through these fires in order to reclaim yourself. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more that's in my mind, but it's just hard for me to stitch everything together in such a way that makes sense. But blessings to one and all. It's starting to rain. I love it. And I hope you're having a beautiful day or night. Amen.